Hello folks, I'm Alex. This is Alex Unabridged, and today I've got my February wrap up and my March TBR for you. So welcome back if that is the case. Yes, so what have I been doing with February? Well, before I start, actually, I do want to say thank you to everybody who has been watching and subscribing and commenting and all that good stuff in my first month and a little bit now. It is. I just hit 50 subscribers the other day, which is awesome. I didn't think I'd get to 50 that quickly. But no, generally it has been an absolutely wonderful welcome into the community of BookTube. And yeah, a huge thanks to everybody who's been really encouraging and supportive and stuff. I've been, really sort of heartened by it. It's, I was very nervous coming into it, and it's been a really lovely experience. So thank you. Right, on with what I've been doing. So what have I been reading in February? What did I get through? I did my Adventures in Genre reading. February was for fantasy. The video for that wrap up specifically, where I talk about all of the books in a bit more detail, will be coming next week, because I am just finishing off the last bit of one. I'm very slightly behind on finishing the third book off. So once I finish that, I've got about an hour left to listen to, I think. I will get that video done and that'll be out next week. But the books on the list for that were The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, and Stormfront by Jim Butcher, which is the first in the Dresden Files series. So if you want to hear more about what I thought about those, how I got on with those, then tune in next week for Adventures in Genre. What else? Okay, I did the GarbAugust Wasted Weekend. There is a separate video of my wrap up for that already up on the channel, if you want to check that out for more details. But for that, I read some wonderful trash. Great event, and I'm now really looking forward to the full fat GarbAugust 2 in August later in the year. But I read Frankenstein's Hamster, a Christmas horror novella, which was hilarious. Alien Covenant Origins, which was a surprising read in terms of just how good it was. Actually, it was obviously a tie-in, or at least a prequel book to Covenant. The events of Covenant, the movie. And yeah, that was really good. Actually, I really enjoyed that. That was very well written, and that was an audiobook. So yeah, that was a good one. God of War, which I have now finished. I didn't finish it quite over the weekend. Yeah, it was not bad. Yeah, not bad. I think is probably the feeling on that. It was just a little bit. Got a little bit repetitive with some of the actiony kind of stuff, the descriptive stuff, but generally it was decent. And the fourth one was Soul Eater, which is a male post-apocalyptic fantasy romance / smut, which was surprisingly to me brilliant. I loved it. So yes, that if you want to hear more about those and you haven't already watched the GarbAugust Wasted Weekend video, then the link will be in the description. Okay, what else? I have been rereading some plays because I'm just doing my top 10 plays list, and it was proving extremely difficult. I've read so many plays, and I love plays and theatre, having had a career in theatre for 10 to 15 years before I moved sideways into art. Theatre was, and plays were that was pretty much what I read. And so I needed to reread a few just to situate them or not in the top 10. So I reread a couple of Sarah Kane plays. which is in your face theatre, pretty brutal in your face theatre, and some of the what I think of as the B's. So many playwrights like that I like, which have whose surname starts with B. So I've been reading some Beckett, some Bond, some Brenton, some Bennett, and some Brecht. So yes, I've been kind of chomping my way through some plays to kind of figure out what's going on the list and what isn't, and that top 10 will be on the channel on Sunday. This will go out on Friday, and it'll be in a couple of days' time. What else? We've got the second in the Monstrous series. So the Soul Eater that I just talked about for GarbAugust was the first in that, and the second one, which is called Eden. I thought, yeah, I fancy like seeing where this series is going. What else they're going to do with it, what else Lily Mayne, can kind of conjure up, and it was just good fun. It was really good fun, and I fancied a little bit of something trashy. So yeah, they're on Kindle Unlimited. So I had a look at the second one. Didn't enjoy it as much as the first. Not that it was bad. I did enjoy it. It was good fun. It was really good fun. I think it was just slightly. I think the main human character was slightly less kind of my cup of tea. He was a bit of a dick, but he was meant to be. He's kind of he's a soldier. It kind of follows Hunter and Charlie, or we meet Hunter and Charlie, who are two soldiers together, and Charlie gets kidnapped by a group of monsters, and Hunter nearly dies trying to sort of stop them from kidnapping him, and then gets rescued by Eden, who we have met in the first book, who is this huge, like, muscled purple dude, basically, who wears nothing but a kilt, and he basically offers to help Hunter track Charlie to rescue him. Eden's just quite sweet, and you can't rile him up, but Hunter's, as I say, Hunter's very kind of gruff and stubborn and can be quite arrogant in some ways, but it's about seeing why he's like that and stuff like that. So again, the characterization is decent. You can kind of believe the characters, the relationships, the romance is kind of sweet and kind of spicy at the same time. But yeah, the smuttiness is still very smutty. But I think it's probably just like that was probably quite a bit different from the first one. It was still quite eye-opening in some respects. So yes, that is the second one. I will continue reading that series because the world that Lily Mayne has conjured up with these monsters is very intriguing, as are the characters. So yeah, I will carry on with those as and when. If I just kind of go, yeah, I fancy one of those, I'll read them. One that I'm still working my way through is Horrorology, which is a book of short stories. It's a library book, and I have had to renew it. So I do need to still crack on with that. I'm getting through it, but it's just one where I kind of pick it up every now and again and read a short story. So yeah, but it's some really good stuff in there, some really creepy stuff in there, lots of different authors. So that one I am very much enjoying, and we'll do a proper full-on sort of little kind of my opinions video. I don't really do reviews. I'm not kind of I don't feel necessarily qualified to kind of do a proper review of things. But I will, start to do some kind of more detailed thoughts and opinions videos. And certainly that one will be one that I'll do when I'm finished. So on to my my TBR and my maybe reads, my wish list for March. First of all, we've got my adventures in genre, which is March is for mystery. So I will also be tying it in with the March Mystery Madness, because why not? Get involved in another event. So I'm going to pick 2 to 3 books, but I haven't quite decided yet which ones. So the pool that I'm drawing from is The Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. I think that one's probably a near definite, that one, because I've never read any Agatha Christie, and I've seen a lot of the films and TV adaptations, and I kind of feel like, yeah, I need to read some Agatha Christie. Then the others that I can pull from are The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton, The Appeal by Janice Hallett, which is one of the ones I got from in my Christmas haul. And then a couple on the Kindle Unlimited list. One is Death in Heels, which is the first book in the Dublin Drag Mysteries by Kitty Murphy, and All the Pretty Boys by Jay Castelletti, who is a gay Australian author. All the Pretty Boys looks like it's quite dark and gritty. Death in Heels looks like it's just quite a lot of fun. And so I think I'll probably make a definite choice soon on the like two, and then I'll save, you know, the other three as kind of a pool to pick from, dependent on my mood, when I get round to the third. I also want to get back to my Stephen King reading. I need to, you know, kind of keep going with getting through Stephen King's back catalogue. So the one I've picked for this month, which I have on audiobook, is actually one of the Barkman books, and it is The Running Man. And I've never seen the film either, so I know the basic premise. You know, it's you know, set in the future, in terms of the future, certainly the future in the book. I think it's 2025 or something like that. So it's not that far away from us now. And it follows a guy who is unemployed, from the sort of poor part of town, who's got a sick kid, and he and his wife can't afford to take her to the doctors. So he does kind of the only thing that he can do, and that's become a contestant on a game show, essentially. But yeah, the game shows, you know, it's a win or die kind of situation. And that's pretty much all I know of it, basically. So I'd be very interested to listen to that. That is an audiobook. I want to get back into some non-fiction as well this month. So I've looked through my library, see what I've got there that's been sat waiting to be read for ages. And actually I went for an audiobook on this, and that is Coasting by Elise Downing. This is from the description, so you can get an idea of what it is about. It says, running away from your problems doesn't solve anything, but sometimes it's more fun than dealing with them. Yes, yes it is. Elise was spending a lot of her time crying on buses. She'd just graduated from university, had a shiny new flat, her first proper job and a budding relationship, and they were making her miserable. Sitting at work one day, she hit upon the obvious solution. Run 5,000 miles around the coast of Britain carrying her kit on her back. 6 months later, Elise set off, with absolutely no ultra-running experience, unable to read a map, and having never pitched a tent before. Over the 301 days that followed, she developed a debilitating fear of farmyard animals. I know that one. Cried on a lot of beaches, and saw Britain at its most wild and wonderful. I really like the sound of that sort of adventure. That's the sort of thing that, you know, I found myself wanting to do. Not running. I don't run unless I'm being chased. But, you know, just packing up a bag and just going off somewhere on an adventure, you know, with kind of no experience. I'm always too scared to do it though. Plus, you know, I have responsibilities at home. But yeah, it's I can certainly see the appeal, and I think that would be an interesting one, just in terms of, you know, my love of adventure books, and something, you know, kind of from somebody inexperienced and in this country, should be an entertaining read. Next up, I'm going to try and do a bit of a Kindle Unlimited pick, or an Audible Plus catalogue pick, basically the things that I've got free access to through my subscriptions, so that I'm using the subscriptions a little more. I'm going to try and do one of these a month. And I'd got a few on the list, and then I happened to watch Joshua from Coffee, Cats and Kings the other day on his TBR for the month, and he came up with one that I just could not say no to, and that is The Call of Poohthulhu. which is described as, and this is from Amazon, an imaginative amalgamation of two beloved literary genres, the early stories of Winnie the Pooh and the mythos tales of H.P. Lovecraft. 10 authors have created stories that take place in or are inspired by the Hundred Acre Wood, and added a Lovecraftian twist to ruffle the feathers of an owl or shock the tail off a donkey. Yeah, just the title was enough to make me go, yep, I'm in, done, sold, gimme. And then I checked, and it was actually, on Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't even have to like pay any more for it. So I was like, that's happening this month. So thank you very much for that, Joshua. That's a fantastic one for my TBR. So that is most of the slightly bigger books. And the other thing that I want to get kind of going again with is some comics and manga. So I've got The Dissolving Classroom that I still haven't started, and I've had since just before Christmas, so I want to read that. And also I've had one that I got digitally that's been on my my Comixology Kindle kind of library for quite a while, which is a horror comic, which is The Colder Omnibus by Paul Tobin, which looks really dark, and I think I've had it for a while because I've almost been a little bit scared to start it. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a try and see what I think. So I've got some kind of very different sorts of books to read if I just want, kind of something away from the audible books, or from, lots of text reading. So yeah, I doubt I will get through everything this month, although I'm going away on holiday, which generally means I do have more time for reading and stuff like that. So we'll see. But yes, that is my my wish list and my TBR for March. Okay, what else have I got? What have I been writing? Do my little writing wrap up. I have been continuing on with my Slate Trail book about my adventure on the Snowdonian Slate Trail from last year. That one I think is going to change quite a lot in terms of the writing, because I've now started doing, the artwork, and although I've had, some blocks with that and stuff, recently, I think what I'm seeing is that actually the writing needs to kind of be pulled back a little bit. I think I've written too much, which, is not at all surprising to me, considering I'm a rambler. Not just in terms of the hiking rambling. I do tend to waffle somewhat. So yes, I think I will be pulling the writing back a little bit more, or adapting it so it's not quite so sort of dense in its prose. I think I'll be kind of lifting bits, and I think I might convert some bits into kind of almost more poetry, things like that go along with the art, illustration, graphic type stuff. So we'll see where that goes with that one. In terms of fiction, I have finished another draft of the story about the rock shark, or the peat shark, whatever you want to call it, that I detailed in my last wrap up. It's a rock shark really that lives in the peat of the moors, which has a working title for the moment of From Beneath. That is now in a metaphorical drawer, percolating. I need to leave that alone for a little bit, and come back to it fresh in a little while, and kind of see what I think of it and see where I need to change it. I have done drafts of 3 of the flash fiction pieces that I'm doing for a memoir kind of collection of autofiction. One called, these are all working titles, but one called Video Nasties, which is an experience that I had when I was probably about 7, in at the section of a little local supermarket. This was the days before the big supermarkets, where I'd gone off. Mum had gone shopping, and I was allowed to go and look at the videos. It's like, you know, when still you could go and get borrow VHS tapes from your little local supermarket. So even before the days of like Blockbuster and stuff like that. And yeah, VHS and Betamax. And I was just looking at videos, and basically got, you know, kind of verbally set on by two slightly older boys, and it was quite a terrifying experience. And it was kind of the first sort of confrontation that I think I'd had as a kid about my gender. So so that is kind of, that's quite an important one, and it's as I say, I've fictionalized, you know, elements of it, and to help me with the bits of my memory that have kind of got lost. But yeah, that's the first one. The second one is The King Vanishes, which is based around my drag king performance days. And the third one is one called Yes, Young Man, which is again sort of about gender perception. So from when I was a kid. So yes, those are the three that I've got drafts done for, and we'll be kind of revisiting those. And I've started planning a couple of other horror short stories as well. So yes, what else? What have I got coming up on the channel in March? I've got my top 10 plays, which will be out a couple of days after this video. I will continue on with that and do my favourite graphic novels and my favourite art books. And then that is kind of my, you know, top 10 in the different sort of styles of books done. And I can start kind of doing more specific lists and discussions and stuff like that. I'm gonna potentially do a little bit of a sort of me rambling about my history with horror, and you know, where my fear of certain things has come from, and why I dislike horror movies so much, and why I like horror books and audiobooks and plays as well. So that'll just be me chatting for a bit. I'm going to have a little look at some of the movie adaptations that I liked better than the books, and some of the ones that I didn't. That is another one I've got planned for March. As I say, I'm going on holiday, so you will get a vlog probably from me for that week, because it's something I can still do whilst I'm away. And the big one for me in terms of something special is right at the end of March. It is International Day of Transgender Visibility. That's the 31st of March, which is a Friday, which is one of my general release days for videos. I'm trying at the moment to do Tuesdays, Fridays and Sundays. So yes, I will have a special for that one, because that one obviously is quite important to me. So yes, that is what is coming up on the channel in March. So please, yeah, if you've like the sound of any of the stuff that I've talked about today, do give us a like and consider subscribing so that you can get, you know, be notified, or I'll pop up on your feed when I release any of the stuff that I'm planning on doing, if you like the sound of that. But thank you very much for watching. I will be back soon with more ramblings on all things bookish, but from me, for now, that's ta-ra.